Okay, picture this. You walk into a meeting. Before you've even said a word, before you've even found your seat, everyone in that room has already made a decision about you. Are you a leader or a follower? Are you confident or are you unsure? Are you someone they should listen to or someone they can just ignore? Today we're going to break down the 3-second rule and really dig into how those first few moments can literally define your professional life for months.
Right, let's just get straight to it. Here's the uncomfortable truth. In less than 3 seconds, a judgment about you is locked in. Now, is that fair? Nope. Is it logical? Not really. But it is exactly how our brains are wired. 3 seconds. That's it. That's the window you get.
So I want you to really think about this for a second. That last meeting you walked into, that last interview, that last presentation, based on how you entered the room, who did they decide you were in that instant? And more importantly, was that the person you wanted them to see?
So how do we get a handle on this? How do we control that narrative? Well, first, you have to understand why it happens in the first place. So let's get into the 3-second verdict and the actual psychology behind these crazy fast judgments.
See, at its very core, the human brain is just a prediction machine. It's a survival tool, really, a leftover from a time when figuring out friend or foe in a split second was, a life or death situation. So when you walk into a room, every other brain in there is instantly scanning you. Not for your resume, not for your great ideas, but for these primitive signals of certainty, confidence, and status. All so it can slap a label on you and predict your role in the group.
And here's the kicker. This is what makes it all so incredibly powerful. Once that 3-second label is applied, leader, follower, nervous, in control, the brain starts doing something called confirmation bias. It literally starts looking for evidence to prove itself right, and it will subconsciously ignore anything that challenges that first impression. This is exactly why a bad first impression is so ridiculously hard to shake off.
Okay, so if their brain is scanning us for signals, what exactly is it looking for? Well, that brings us to the signals of power, the 3 very specific nonverbal cues that lock in that first perception of you.
It pretty much boils down to these 3 things. They're universal, they're incredibly powerful, and get this, they happen before you ever say a single word. So let's break each one down.
First up, posture. You can think of this as a really simple binary signal. When you slouch, you're physically making yourself smaller. You're signaling deference, uncertainty. But standing tall, with your shoulders back, that projects authority and presence. It's a silent announcement that you belong there.
Next is eye contact. Avoiding another person's gaze is a classic submissive signal in the animal kingdom, and our brains are still wired to see it that way. On the flip side, calm, steady eye contact. And I don't mean an aggressive stare down. It just means you're present, you're engaged, and you're in control of yourself and the situation.
And our final signal is pace. Think about it. Rushed, hurried movements, they just scream anxiety. They signal a mind that's racing, one that isn't really in control. But slow, deliberate movements, they broadcast confidence. They tell everyone in the room that you're calm, you have a plan, and you're not easily rattled.
So, okay, we've got the 3 signals that create the 3-second impression. But why does this one little moment have such a long-lasting effect? Well, this is what we call the 3-month echo.
This feedback loop right here is the engine that drives that echo. It's so simple but so powerful. If people judge you as confident, they treat you with more respect. They listen a little closer to your ideas. And that treatment in turn reinforces their original judgment, making it even stronger. It becomes a total self-fulfilling prophecy, for better or for worse.
And look, these aren't small, fuzzy things. This feedback loop has real, tangible, career-defining consequences. Whether you get interrupted constantly or people hang on your every word, whether your ideas are trusted or doubted, it often tracks right back to that initial 3-second verdict.
But here's the good news. This isn't a life sentence, it's an opportunity. We can absolutely learn to control these signals. So let's get into the most actionable part of this whole thing, mastering your entrance with a super simple 4-step routine.
This routine is your toolkit. It's how you take back control. So before you walk in, just take a beat. Literally pause at the door. Use that moment to physically reset your frame. Straighten up, pull your shoulders back. Then take one single, slow breath to calm your whole nervous system. And only then do you enter, not with frantic energy, but with a calm, deliberate intention.
And I want you to remember this. Real power isn't about being the loudest or the most aggressive person in the room. So often, it's about being the most centered. Calmness signals control, and this little routine is your way of manufacturing that calm before you even see a single person.
So the next time you walk up to a doorway, I want you to totally reframe what's happening. You're not just walking from a hallway into an office. No, you are stepping onto a stage, and in that moment, you are setting the entire narrative for your character in that story. You are the author of your first impression.
And that is the question I want to leave you with. From this moment on, when you walk through that door, you have the tools, you have the power to decide. So, what will your narrative be?